If you think that talking to your kids about emotions is going to make them soft and sensitive or a snowflake, then this episode is absolutely for you. Or maybe you're on board with this approach, but then you have a partner or maybe extended family who think this approach is ridiculous or a waste of time. So what if I told you that emotional intelligence is actually the opposite of weakness, and it's actually the number one skill that your child needs to thrive in real life? Welcome back to the Emotionally Intelligent Parenting Podcast. I'm Stephanie Pinto, your host, and I'm an award-winning emotional intelligence coach, an international speaker, and a best-selling author. And obviously I do everything around emotional intelligence because I absolutely love it. And let me just tell you that after being the world's most emotionally unintelligent person for many, many years, basically my whole life, I discovered emotional intelligence. I was fascinated. I was super duper skeptical, but then I fell in love with it because I looked at the research and I started using it in my own family. I was like, oh my God, there's something to this. So now I help parents who are struggling with this stuff. They were not raised with emotionally intelligent parents or in an emotionally intelligent household. Maybe emotions were shoved down or punished out of them. And so now, a lot of us kind of resort to things like yelling. We have power struggles. We use punishments and stuff like that. And basically emotions are out of control. And then we wonder why home can be a really stressful place, chaotic place. So I help parents to undo all of that and create this new blueprint, this new way of being, this new framework that is built with emotional intelligence. So everything just starts to flow a lot more smoothly. Relationships get so much deeper and so much closer, and families join together. They're a better team and they like spending time with one another. Before we go any further, I want to quickly acknowledge the Darug Nation. They are the traditional custodians of the land on which I live, work, and record these videos and this podcast. I want to pay my respects to all First Nations people, their elders, and their ancestors, and I acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded, and I stand in solidarity towards a shared future. So today I want to talk about this big idea, and I really wonder where you stand on this. It's the idea that emotional intelligence will make kids too soft, too sensitive, too weak, or maybe not strong enough to cope with the real world. So the first big idea is that talking about feelings are going to make my kids soft. So that's like a no-brainer one. I hear that so much. I hear it from people around me. I see it all the time on social media, especially. And so I think what this is underpinned by is the idea that emotions themselves make you soft. Okay, so if you have emotions, then you're soft, like you're a baby or you're a girl, all of that stuff. I say this a lot in my work. Emotions are as much a part of being human as having a nose or an elbow or a brain or lungs. It's just a normal part of how we were created. And actually, if I go a step further, they're really bloody helpful. They are insightful. They are pieces of information that we can listen to and learn from and go, that wasn't the right choice, or this is really important to me, or I need to stand back and get some more information on this situation because I'm feeling uneasy. So let's fast forward a little bit. I want to talk a bit about resilience, because this is the idea of, I think we used to think resilience was like toughing it out or ignoring your feelings. Real resilience is actually about being able to handle the hard things, the adversity, the setbacks, like disappointment, right? Rejection, anger, and actually being able to move through the situations and the emotions without getting stuck, without being reactive, and without being destructive. So I'm going to say that again because that's pretty profound. I think that's really epic. Real resilience is the ability to experience a setback or an adversity, a really tough moment, and then to actually move through that without getting stuck, without being reactive, and without being destructive. So a little bit more about this idea of being like a strong because the opposite of like being weak and soft is like strong and tough, right? So resilience is actually what we know from the literature as well, which is what's really being strong and being able to like help you get through life's up and downs. Real resilience actually looks like naming your emotion instead of just lashing out or shutting down. Please think about the adults in your life who suck at this. There are so many out there. There are so many people, men, women, like anyone. Maybe they're in your workplace, maybe they're in your family, and you're like, my God, like this person, you can't stand to be around them, or they're draining your energy, right? And again, I know it sounds I'm being really judgmental, but I was this person. Like I wasn't explosive all the time, but I would shut down. I would give people the cold shoulder. I was filled with anxiety. I was emotionally unintelligent. So I'm just going to put that out as a disclaimer right now. So real resilience also actually looks like asking for help instead of pretending you're fine. It's also saying, I'm really upset that this didn't go my way. I need a minute. Like, I need to gather myself. Let me plan again, or let me problem solve. How can I tackle this situation? So that's also trying again after a failure, not because someone told you to just toughen up or suck it up, buttercup, but actually because you've learned how to process the setback and the emotions and then try a new approach. Amazing, right? So here's what happens without emotional intelligence. And remember, emotional intelligence is being able to recognize and understand and process your emotions so that then you can get on with the day, make good decisions, adjust your behavior as you need to. So without emotional intelligence, kids will suppress disappointment or anger until it explodes. Also, they might shut down or avoid challenges altogether because they haven't learned how to handle frustration. They just haven't had the chance. They might also damage relationships by blaming others, by acting out, or maybe withdrawing. That was me. And worst of all, they don't learn from the experience. They repeat the same patterns. You know, again, people in your lives that you think, oh my goodness, you're almost acting like an 8-year-old. Blaming, shaming, criticizing, like not taking accountability or responsibility for their own part in the situation or their own actions. It's wild and it's everywhere. I'm also going to go out on a limb right now and say that's a weakness. This stuff is a weakness. Blaming people, judging, shutting down, blowing up, like not taking responsibility. I'm like, these are weaknesses in humans. And again, I had some of those and I still do. I'm working through them. I am not perfect. But like, if we want to talk about what's weak in a human, like, oh, that doing that or being that way is going to make you weak and soft. I'm like, that's kind of this stuff. Okay, so let's look at what does it look like when we do have emotional intelligence. Number one, we know how to bounce back or maybe move forward through those adversities. We also might have some coping strategies, reaching out to a friend, journaling, having a cup of coffee and reflecting what went wrong in that situation. What should I have done? What should I start doing? What should I stop doing? All of that kind of stuff, like self-reflection. That helps us like get better at problem solving because yes, we might not have the exact same situation happen again another time in life. You might, but also we're going to have ups and downs. We're going to have adversities. We're going to have problems. We're going to have people who disagree with us. We're going to have projects or things we're working on that just fall through, like relationships break up. We need to know how to be emotionally intelligent and resilient. Also, the final thing is this stuff helps us build stronger relationships because we know how to communicate and express how we're feeling. We know how to self-regulate and repair after conflict. Repair, huge one. I'm sure I've done videos or episodes on this before. The idea of rupture and repair is really, really powerful for anyone in a relationship, parent-child or romantic relationship, anything. And let me tell you, I have seen this stuff in my own home and I've heard countless stories from parents I coach and work with. So obviously I do one-on-one coaching with parents in this stuff. I speak at schools and preschools and I have courses on my website. So like I'm doing all this stuff and trying to get it out to as many people as possible. One of the things that has really stuck with me is that when my kids get frustrated or upset, they actually know to come to us and to talk about it and to express it, and that we will like hold it, we'll hold space for it. And then we work through it, or they work through it together and then they go off and they keep playing. And I'm like, oh, well, that's done. That stuff is not a weakness. That is literally emotional courage. And every time they do that, their resilience gets stronger bit by bit by bit. Okay, I think we need to talk about why does this stuff matter in the long term? Because I think sometimes we get like bogged down in the day-to-day. We actually forget that we're raising kids for a world that we haven't seen yet. It's going to be a world full of, I think, distractions, of stress and of pressure, definitely mental health challenges. We're already seeing that now. And I think resilience and emotional intelligence are absolutely not these like soft skills and the nice to have. They are absolute necessities, like it is a critical life skill. These are non-negotiable skills that we need to be teaching our kids now so that they are successful down the track when they're adults. They're essential life skills. Employers want it, relationships depend on it, and mental well-being relies on it. Kids who can regulate and respond adaptively and thoughtfully instead of reactively, like these are the ones who are going to thrive. So I wonder if you would agree. Emotional intelligence is about teaching our kids how to intelligently or maturely manage their emotions and manage situations and their behavior It is not about coddling or sitting under a tree all day meditating about emotions and letting your child be so mad that they're breaking things and hurting people. And I hope that you can also see it is not about making sure that your child never feels upset or angry or disappointed. It's about teaching them how to experience those emotions, the inevitable emotions, and what to do with them. I have a couple of analogies. I've been thinking about them. I don't know if they're very good. Please, I want you guys' feedback because I want to make this real for people. So they go, oh yeah, we would never do that with this. We would always do that. Okay, so please tell me like in the comments below because these could be terrible. Teaching your kids about food, speaking about what foods they eat, giving them information or tools to decide on what foods to eat and helping them make good choices isn't going to make them think about food 24/7 or to binge eat or only ever pick junk food to eat. Here's my second one, teaching kids about cars. Talking to them about the parts of the car, how they work, how to control the pedals and the speed, how it needs petrol to run, isn't going to make them car obsessed or become a reckless driver and speed everywhere the moment they turn 16. Okay, so I get that a lot of parents still really struggle with this, or at least it makes sense to them, but then they struggle knowing how to implement and actually bring emotional intelligence into their home. Some of these old habits run really deep. If a child is crying, they need to stop it straight away. Or if a kid has done something wrong, they need a punishment to learn to do things the right way. And when none of this works, we get so triggered and frustrated that we end up yelling and snapping. We were never taught how to do this stuff. Emotional intelligence was not mainstream in the 70s, 80s, or whenever you were a kid. I do have other videos and episodes on what I call this blueprint and how we can change the fundamental stuff, the programming that's running underneath our behaviors and our actions. But if you want the distilled version, like the practical stuff, the step-by-step kind of support, then please check out my course called From Reactive to Responsive Parenting. It's usually $97. I want to give it to you guys for just $17. It's an absolute steal. I have the link and then the discount code in the show notes or in the description under the video here. Like, please check it out. It's like the fastest, most efficient way to learn about how to do this stuff for your own family in your own home. So you don't have to read all the books and listen to countless episodes and podcasts and stuff like that. Even though I love doing these things and they're really great, I'm like, if you want to actually take the next step, that is it. It's From Reactive to Responsive Parenting. Okay, if you love this episode, please share it around, share it to someone who you think might be really interested or might want to deep dive into this stuff too. And also you can obviously leave a rating or you can subscribe to the podcast and to my YouTube channel as well. It honestly does help so much and it means we can reach so many more parents and then we'll actually see a huge shift in what our world looks like in the next 10, 20 years when our generation of kids grow up. Okay, thanks for listening. By the way, please check out next episode because it's going to be episode 100 and I'm going to do a huge giveaway. I've been posting all week on my emails and socials and everything, a giveaway, and now we have 10 winners of some prizes. So you got to be listening to that episode to find out if you're a winner.